The ocean, a vast and unpredictable battlefield, where the tides of war were shaped not by armies on land, but by a few remarkable men whose strategies changed the course of history. In World War II, five naval legends emerged, masters of tactics, bravery, and bold decision-making, whose actions would echo through the decades. Today, we dive into the stories of the five greatest admirals of the men whose commands held the fate of nations in their hands and whose genius turned the tides of war. Their names are etched into history not just for their victories, but for their ability to foresee battles, outwit their enemies, and navigate some of the most dangerous waters the world has ever seen. In the next few minutes, we'll unveil the strategies, the conflicts, and the incredible feats of leadership that defined these extraordinary men. From the vast Pacific Ocean to the frozen Atlantic waters, these admirals were the unspoken titans behind the war's most pivotal naval battles. Let their stories captivate you as we explore the mind-blowing decisions that not only won battles, but changed the course of history. Yamamoto Isoroku, the mastermind of the Japanese Imperial Navy. Born into a world that demanded both intellect and leadership, Yamamoto was more than a mere military man. He was a visionary. Educated in the United States, fluent in English, and deeply understanding Western culture, he knew exactly how to think like his enemies. It was this unique perspective that turned him into a strategic genius, able to craft a naval vision that would shape the future of warfare. With the rise of World War II, Yamamoto's moment came. He was the architect behind Japan's greatest naval victories, and perhaps their most infamous. His name is forever associated with one of the most audacious acts of military strategy in history, the attack on Pearl Harbor. December 7, 1941. Yamamoto's decision to strike a surprise blow against the U.S. Pacific Fleet was brilliant, but costly. The attack itself was swift, violent, and deadly, a masterstroke that aimed to cripple America's naval power. However, what Yamamoto couldn't predict was the resilience of his adversaries. By attempting to eliminate the U.S. Navy's strength, in one fell swoop, he unknowingly galvanized an unstoppable counterforce. Though the attack on Pearl Harbor caught the world off guard, it would eventually become his greatest paradox. In crippling America's Navy, Yamamoto did awaken a sleeping giant, one that would rise from the ashes of defeat. And as the war unfolded, his once predominant fleet would find itself caught in battles it could never win. From Midway to the Coral Sea, Yamamoto's naval strategies impacted the course of the war in ways that would shift the balance forever. Yamamoto's legacy is one of daring brilliance and costly overconfidence. His strategies continue to be studied by military leaders worldwide, but his decision at Pearl Harbor became both his triumph and his tragedy. Chester W. Nimitz, an unassuming yet undeniable force who changed the course of naval history. A man with a quiet demeanor, but beneath it, a strategic genius. Nimitz's leadership would soon prove that resolve and patience can overcome the most formidable of foes. Born in 1885, Nimitz ascended the ranks to become the commander-in-chief of the Pacific Fleet during one of the most critical times in modern history. As the Pacific theater heated up, Nimitz found himself leading a navy that had been devastated by the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. With no time to mourn and everything to prove, he set out to turn the tides, initiating one of the most remarkable comeback stories in military history. Among Nimitz's most legendary victories was the Battle of Midway, a battle that many believed would be a turning point for the Allies. Nimitz, drawing upon intelligence gathered by American cryptographers, set the perfect trap for the Japanese fleet. In a brilliant stroke of genius, he led the U.S. Navy to victory against overwhelming odds, sinking 4 Japanese carriers and crippling the enemy's naval power. Midway wasn't just a victory of tactics. It was a symbol of Nimitz's belief in his forces and the boldness of strategic risk. His cool, calculated leadership provided the crucial momentum the U.S. Navy needed in the Pacific. Without Nimitz, the tides of war might have been very different. Nimitz's leadership didn't end at Midway. His wisdom continued to guide the U.S. Navy through a series of critical naval battles. But it was his foresight during those early months of the war that laid the groundwork for America's ultimate naval dominance, cementing him as one of the greatest admirals to ever sail the sea. Admiral Halsey, Admiral William Bull Halsey, a name that resonates with aggression, boldness, and unwavering confidence. Known for his fearless approach to naval combat, Halsey was one of the most daring commanders of World War II. His approach? Never hesitate, always strike hard, and always lead from the front. In the vast, unforgiving Pacific Ocean, Halsey's leadership would define some of the most significant naval victories in history. One such victory, the Battle of Leyte Gulf. Known as the largest naval battle ever fought, Halsey led a series of calculated offensives that crushed Japan's hope of regaining control of the Philippines. In a decisive strike, he helped neutralize a vast portion of the Imperial Navy, leaving Japan on the back foot for the rest of the war. Yet, it was not just Halsey's strength on the battlefield that made him a legend. It was his daring. His leadership wasn't one of caution. It was aggressive and decisive. At times, he was criticized for taking risks others might never have dared. Yet these very risks often resulted in massive gains for the U.S. Navy. It was this boldness, this confidence in striking the enemy where they least expected, that truly turned the tide of the Pacific War. In battles like Leyte Gulf, Halsey demonstrated the power of aggressive tactics and calculated risk. His rapid strikes disrupted Japanese movements and threw them into disarray, making victory a matter of when, not if. His legacy is one of relentless action, a commander who led his fleet with audacity, shaking the very foundations of the enemy's resolve. Halsey's risk-taking would ultimately contribute to the dominance of the United States Navy in the Pacific, helping to secure crucial victories that would eventually lead to the end of the war. If you enjoyed these stories, make sure to subscribe to our channel and join us for more incredible tales of history and leadership.